Welcome to another episode of Monster Monday from the Ready to Die channel. This series explores the design of a creature I have built for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The stat block for this creature can be found over on the Monster Monday blog, as well as the Twitter and Discord, all of which are linked below. Bugs, insects, and all sorts of arthropods are fascinating creatures. And while giant versions of insects are classic features of fantasy RPGs, I still think that it is an underexplored aspect. I want to expand on the inventory of insects, with this week's build for the Terminid Charger. This burly bug hails from Helldivers, which is a game I'm not particularly familiar with, and is a very different setting than what we find in Pathfinder, which makes them a little difficult to place on the level scale. Looking into it, Chargers are listed as difficulty 3 on a scale that, from what I can tell, maxes out at 10. This seemed to suggest a lower level to me, but when I brought the possibility of a Charger build before the Monster Monday Discord, it seemed pretty unanimous that it should be level 10 adjacent. And after chatting with a few other folks, I settled on level 9 for my take on this terrifying Terminid. Looking into the lore of the Terminids, I couldn't find anything that suggested them to be particularly intelligent, and if I'm missing something, feel free to correct me. But until then, I've designed it as a large animal, but I did also want to include the Terminid trait. There's a possibility I'll make more Terminids in the future, and I don't know if some of them will have buffing effects or something of that nature, and it could be handy to have this trait around so that I can just call out any creature with the Terminid trait, or all non-Terminids, for potential abilities. With that out of the way, let's get into the numbers for this hard-charging champion. Given its burliness, I felt fine dipping into an extreme strength for the charger. It is named after its ability to make powerful charges, and this enables that in regards to both its damage and related skills. Right behind that is a high constitution, giving the charger a beefiness that is largely enhanced by its protective armor. Its remaining positive ability scores, dexterity and wisdom, are both at a low value, as just a natural push and pull for the design of this creature. Fitting with this low wisdom is a terrible perception, though the charger does benefit from an animalistic low light vision. Again, let me know if Terminid should have dark vision or something. And then a tremor sense, since they do appear to be burrowing insects. At the very least, they emerge from the ground to attack prey en masse, and having tremor sense to ensure that they're on target feels like it might help them out. The charger then has two skills to its name: a low acrobatics to help it stay on its feet in the violent environment of a battlefield, and then an extreme athletics. This is going to be an important part of its kit, but I just want to mention that I initially just wanted to use a high value. It was my test subjects that convinced me to use this extreme value, but I do agree that it should be fine for its design. We'll just have to see more when we get down to its attacks and abilities. Before that, though, we gotta discuss the defenses of the Stenting Dasher, and there is a bit going on here. At first glance, the Terminid has an armor class in between moderate and low, and this is meant to tie into both its moderate hit points and the max physical resistance it has for its level. This makes the charger not hard to hit, and not actually super durable if you can get at its hit points, but hard to actually whittle through its HP, without spells and the like to bypass this resistance. This is based on the incredible armor of the charger, able to deflect incoming shots unless you fire at its unarmored bits. Its soft spot, so to say. This is a pretty simple ability, and is a little based on the idea of how you can specifically target the heads of a Hydra. With this, you can target an extreme AC when fighting the charger to bypass its physical resistance entirely and let all of your damage go through. I went for a higher base armor for this effect, rather than a penalty to the attack, or something similar, because I think other effects already penalizing your attack should diminish your chances. And if I made this a -2 attack, it might not stack with them. Now, while its physical resistance makes it a tough foe for most martials to match, mages and the like may have an advantage here. The charger has an extreme fortitude, but both its reflex and will saves are low, providing them with an easy point to put pressure on. Dropping bombs in the forms of fireballs, and I guess just most bombs in general, should prove highly effective against the charger. which seems at least partially right from what I've observed. Going on the offensive, our Terminator has only a single strike, which is meant to emphasize its straightforward design. Its simple headbutt has a high attack bonus, but no traits. Its damage is also low, and that might seem a bit weird at first. It has a push ability, letting the Terminid follow up a strike with a shove that bypasses its multiple attack penalty, but that still seems off balance. And that is because of the rest of the Charger's kit, starting with its ragdoll. This passive effect increases the distance that the Charger launches its prey, and causes them to get knocked prone if it critically succeeds at its shove. Given its extreme athletics, it should have a decent chance of doing so, which could be problematic. It'll certainly slow combat down as characters have to stand up and then stride back into the fight for two actions, but that will hopefully encourage players to make their hits count and try to interact with its soft spot. In my original design, this was part of another ability that we're going to talk about shortly, before I parsed it out and made it an effect all on its own. Another reason that the Charger only uses low damage is because of its tumultuous charge. This is a classic charging 2-action ability, with the caveat that the Charger must move in a straight line. As long as it does so and moves at least 20 feet, its headbutt then changes all the way from low damage to extreme damage. That is a sizable increase in damage, and with the Charger already having a high attack bonus, I wanted it to take a slight hit to AC from doing this, in the form of off guard, kind of just balancing it out a little bit, making this not something that it always wants to do. This also resembles a way that the Charger will sort of stagger itself after crashing into an obstacle. However, as long as the Charger hits its target, it can follow this impact with a launch reaction. I like push requiring an action from it normally, but when it has the momentum for its charge, I want to reduce the action cost to shove for the Charger. This is mainly so that the Charger has an extra action to line up its charge in the first place, should it need to. If the Charger can't quite get lined up, or has a wealth of targets to choose from, it can always just go for a trample. This is a universal monster ability, and given the large size of the Charger, it can affect creatures of medium size or smaller with it. It deals moderate damage for the Charger's level and uses a high DC, giving it a little bit higher damage than its normal headbutt, but once the enemies start spreading out, this does begin to lose a bit of its value. That does bring us to the end of the charge for this particular Terminid. This barreling beetle bashes through barriers, bards, and barbarians in brutal bounds, bludgeoning with boundless bravado. I will likely return to do more Terminids someday, just because I really like big beasts. But until then, this could be a fun creature to have operating on its own, a wild beast disconnected from its hive, or stick it with some Oncras, at least for the time being. Have it be some specialized variant of them, or maybe vice versa. You'll have to wait for Starfinder to get a full effect of facing this foe, and I'll almost certainly drop a few more Terminids with the full release of that. Until then, let me know what you think of this creature and what other creatures you want to see down in a comment. If you want to check out other versions of this monster, as well as other monsters I've already made, be sure to look at the Monster Monday blog, Twitter, or Discord, which you can find in the description. Thanks for watching, have a fantastic Friday, and remember,
together for managed democracy!
Together for victory!
Together for liberty!